Hello Lima, brought to you by Good Food Restaurant, home of Happy Days, Beer Barrel, and Old City Prime. Also by Mercy Health Partners, the Tom family of dealerships, 318 Restaurant and Bar, Lima Pallet Company, and M&W Construction.
1 in 3 Ohioans returns to the state prison within 3 years of getting out. This should be a concern for every person living in Ohio, regardless of the relationship with the prison system. Ohio taxpayers pay over $1 billion every year to house some 43,000 inmates, with many of them being repeat offenders. Ohio gives little time off sentences to inmates who participate in educational programs, drug treatment programs, or even job training programs. And as we continue to send many low-level, nonviolent felons to prison instead of community-based programs, we should all ask ourselves, what should we do? What needs can we make in terms of breaking a penal system that is clearly broken? Today, Hello Lima has a chance to talk to former inmates that have beat the system and others working to offer hope when they get out. We welcome, it's a pleasure having Leandre Johnson with us today, as well as Chris Jackson. Both of them who are, as I would say, friends of the show. I guess we can say that. You've been on the show before. I think this topic is always important. Certainly, Dre, we had an opportunity yesterday. Mrs. Kidd will be joining us by Zoom. We had an opportunity yesterday to kind of see a show that's going to be released. It was through the justice system. We hope to be able to bring that to our Lima, Hello Lima audience soon, but this was just a fascinating opportunity to view the struggles. It focused on women, but it could, I think it, Dre, I'd start with you. I think it can go whether it's women or men in terms of the challenges you face re-entry, coming back and transitioning back into the community. And when you talk about it, Dre, when you talk about, for those of you guys who don't know, in the Hello Lima community, Leandre goes to Dre when we get together and have these chats. But it's kind of, and Chris, we're going to jump to you also, but when you talk about the total population, the penal system is some 43,000 inmates. And this is never going to be about a black and white, because the penal system is, the justice system is straight regardless of how you look at it. But out of those 43,000, 23,000, some 20,000 of them, Dre, are African Americans. So you know that it's hurting, particularly our population, at a more concentrated rate than the general population. So I think this subject can't get enough airtime. Dre, tell me, you made it out of it, but you've had the challenges and you continue to help people. Can you give the audience a little bit about what's going on, particularly what we witnessed yesterday?
As far as like the transitioning back in, it's not as easy as some people would think, but it also is what you make it. Like I told the guys yesterday, you know, just
the
do
inmates.
everything. Yeah, the inmates. Do everything right the first time, so that you know you don't get caught up in, you know, you don't have your license, so you're trying to drive, you get pulled over. Just do it right the first time.
That's after you get out.
Yes,
after you get released.
Yeah, when you get released.
Dre, you've been in both the state and the federal penitentiary.
Correct.
But having said that, everybody in Lima knows you as one of the most successful small businesses in Lima, both in terms of what you do for the community, what you do for kids, and how much you've reached back to the inmates and tried to give them those words of wisdom, which I saw yesterday. Does it still rub you the wrong way in terms of seeing so many, not only African Americans in the prison system, but just seems like it's a system that is flawed, Dre?
Yeah, it still rubs me the wrong way, because it's just like, I don't know why people still try to beat the system. You can't beat the system, you know. In a sense, I think a lot of it is just everybody wants money, but we don't know. A lot of people don't know how to make the money nor spend the money correctly. You know, so financial literacy, I think that's a lot that has to do with it.
A lot of that prison, we heard that yesterday, Chris. We heard it yesterday from the inmates. A lot of what gets them in trouble, and I think I can echo what you're saying, Dre, is poverty, economic disparity. Those things seem to be something that saturates the reason why many of them are out there, Chris. And I know you work with them once they get out. You've spent many times over at the Allen County Correctional Institution talking to them, Chris. What message do you deliver?
So one of the things we're doing, Jerome, with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, we have what we call a self-sufficiency program. And when I first started going out to the prison, I was going out more for our mentorship program. Then I realized the mentoring is not what they need. They're going to need the self-sufficiency program. So with the self-sufficiency program, it's aimed at when these guys get out, we sign them up for this program, and this is in cooperation with Job and Family Services. We look for them to become citizens again, not inmates, not I know a lot of people want to use that stigmatism as citizens, as they talked about yesterday. So they're going to be citizens.
Yes.
We look at facilitating them getting jobs.
Yes. And Chris, I don't want to jump in here. It's what you said. And I'm going to quote the director of the Department of Rehab, create better people, not better inmates.
Exactly. And so with this, we will look at the financial literacy, like Leandre said. And then we also look at transportation. Say that, a lot of them get out, they're going to need transportation to get back and forth to work. The housing. So we're working with them. So once they do become a productive citizen again, like Leandre said, we going to cut down that number that's going back to recidivism. We don't want them going back. We've got to make them productive and well wanted.
And I think, Dre, one of the things we kind of felt sort of, I think it was like we were mad because we knew we were sort of preaching to the choir. Everybody was inmates. Everybody were people who are familiar with the system. How do we get the general public? And I'm going to jump back with you, Dre. How do we get the general public to understand that was a lot of talent in that room? Regardless, there's a lot of low-level felons who have a lot of skills, Dre, to bring to the community. If the community would just recognize them for who they are, as opposed to the mistakes they made.
And that's correct. But also it breaks down to the inmate too. The inmate or the incarcerated people, they have to be willing to change also to be recognized for the skills that they have. And I think that, with Mr. Jackson, what he says, the programs that they have, they are needed to help get the guys back into the community.
Transition back into,
yes.
And not go back and 1 in 3 repeat offenders. Isn't that a staggering number though, Chris, when you talk about it? But what brings them back so often, Chris? 1 in 3, you talked to him yesterday. How do they end up back in jail so often? I want the Hello Lima audience to hear from people who are inside the system.
I think it's like Leandre said, not doing things right the first time when they get out. A lot of guys get out, and we are creatures of habit, so we revert back to people we were comfortable around. So a lot of these guys and ladies get out and they go back to that same circle that they were involved in before they went in. So now we've got to teach them that it's okay to go out and create your own again. You don't have to go back around those same people, not going right back into that atmosphere.
Family or otherwise.
Family or otherwise. So they have to separate themselves in order, to do better.
And we as the community can look at that, can create opportunities and pathways to go out and communicate, to go out and minister, to go out and be a role model, Dre, like you're doing, and not look at prisons or ex-cons, if I can use that terminology, as bad people. There are a lot of people that make mistakes, follow me, Dre, and a lot of people who are that close from being on the other side of the law. So having said that, you do a lot of things in the community, Dre. I'd like for you to share with the audience a little bit of the things that you do that just most people may not realize this.
Well, at my barbershop, Fresh and Faded, we give our back to school program. In the wintertime, we collect coats and hats and scarves and give to the people who don't have it. Turkey giveaways. We hire young kids to come in and work, and while they're in there working, I'm able to mentor them and, teach them the best way that I can, some type of form of financial literacy.
Right.
Like I'll play the banker. They'll deposit so much of their earnings with me.
That you pay them.
That we pay them, yes, and then, they'll withdraw it at the end of the summer, to help with their school clothes and things of that nature.
And those little things make a difference, which means it's one thing, Chris, to kind of help people who are transitioning out of the penal system. It's another thing, Dre, to keep them from ever going into the penal system, right, Chris?
Exactly.
Big Brothers and Big Sisters, a big part of that.
Yeah, and with our mentoring program, again, we talk about numbers. When you look at our numbers of how many kids we have on our waiting list, there's a disparity there also of how many mentors are of the same. So that's one of the things we're pushing to also, to get same race, to get more people that are like yourself. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. But sometimes it makes a difference.
Exactly.
And I get excited about this, and I want the audience to hear, Chris. It is statistically proven those who come from a single household have a much better odds of ending up in the judicial system than those who don't. That's why it's important what Big Brothers and Big Sisters do.
So what we're trying to do is replace that dad. When we start talking single households, majority of them, probably 90% of them are single moms.
Single moms.
So these young men or young ladies, so they're gravitating to other people their age to be mom or dad, and that doesn't work. So what we're trying to do with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, partner them with a mentor that is from a solid background that can teach them things that they haven't done. One of the things we talk to our mentors about is, be listeners, good listeners first. We want to listen to these young people, see what it is, and then you gain their trust. Once you gain their trust and they realize that you really trust, that they can trust you, then they will open up. One of the things we talked about yesterday in the past is that there's a lot of programs and it's a mouthpiece. They talk, but they don't follow up. And these kids it's a different breed that we're dealing with, so they want somebody that they can trust and they can open up to.
It's not yesterday's generation,
Exactly.
is it, Chris? They're looking for what can you do and how can you help me, right,
Exactly.
Dre?
Yes.
And Dre, you were on the panel yesterday. I certainly, as somebody who has been witness to what the things that you've done in the community, that panel was moving, I should say.
Yes.
It was the way you guys gave back to the inmates. There was probably, what, Chris, maybe 50 inmates in the
Yes.
audience. Dre, you talked to them and shared, they had questions for you. How can I? How do I? Were you comfortable with in that setting?
Most definitely, because what I notice when some people are trying to help other people, they use all the big words or things that really don't, I won't say they don't mean anything, but they want to get straight to the point. Like yesterday when I answered the question about, any advice, when you get out, just do it right the first time. Right. Don't go out and try to drive and you don't have your driver's license. Then when you get pulled over, you're going to blame the police. No, it's on you. Just do it right the first time. You don't have anything to worry about.
And I think that's great, Dre. That message, not only that you give it, but to understand, Chris, that a lot of people in Dre's situation would go back and just sort of hide and go back and feel some sort of a guilt and some sort of a... Dre has been on the front line for years, speaking to repeat offenders, speaking to kids to keep them out of this system. And I know you have too, Chris. And when we come back, we're going to take a break, though. We're up against a hard break. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk to one of the featured ladies of yesterday's TV show. I hope everybody gets a chance to watch, and then we're going to hear a little bit more from Dre and Chris in terms of what we can do in Lima, Allen County to help today's young and to help those who are transitioning back into the community. Don't go away.
Early in the morning when the Happy Days stores open, turn the grills on, get the coffee turned on. Across town, the beer barrels, there's a lot of prep work that has to be done. Sauces being prepped on the stove. At Old City Prime, everything's from scratch. I think the culture in our company is that we care about our people. And in return, our people care about our customers. Thank you so much to all of our team that's worked for us, and thank you so much to all the communities that we're in for being such great customers.
We at Lima Pallet Company thank you, Lima. In 1977, we started a small family business, and today we continue to grow. Lima Pallet is a full-service pallet and crate provider. Every customer is unique, which is why we build pallets and crates to our customers' specific requirements. Because we have our own fleet of trucks, we're able to provide customers with on-time, same-day, and 24-hour emergency deliveries. Coming together is the beginning, keeping it together is progress, and working together is success. Let's continue to succeed.
People do tell me that I'm always on the move. Hi, my name is Malika Kidd. I'm the program manager for the Chopping for Change program, a culinary program for the women that's locked up that come out every day. They're learning culinary arts. Something burning.
I'm not a baker.
You don't have to be. You're gonna learn all of that in here.
When I found out that you were an inmate yourself, it made me more comfortable knowing that she knows what we're going through, that she done walk the walk we walk.
We do not call you by your last names. We call you by your first names. I was last name and a number for 14 years, so I know how that feels.
My biggest fears when I leave is not being accepted.
Getting my kids back.
Finding a job.
And trying to find a decent place to live.
Am I going to be able to walk out of here and own this and not be ashamed?
Giving back to where I was. I don't ever want to forget that.
My heart just dropped. It just dropped. My son was 3 years old when I went to prison. When I was released from prison, he was 17 years old. It wasn't real to me that I was finally free until I got through that gate and hugged my son.
that's when I knew I'm home, I'm free. Now I'm making up for lost time. Newlywed, full-time student, full-time job.
All right, Tamika, let's get her hopping on your gravy. Yes, chef. 2 minutes. You got it? You good? Okay.
I've never had anybody in my life like her.
Just seeing her lets me know that I can do it too. It lets me know that I'm more than my prison number.
Hot pan, hot pan.
I definitely believe these women can turn their lives around. All it takes is for somebody to give them a chance. You can do it.
I know.
I have faith in you. I know you can make it. If I can help other women and rebuild my life at the same time, I know that I'm moving in the right direction.
Remember I told you I was at college? Really, Mommy is in jail.
I was soccer mom. My life was my kids.
I miss this. The system is designed to be punitive, but it's about getting our lives restored.
You want me to go out there and explain to people that I have a felony, that I was a drug addict.
It's gonna be a struggle, but I'm ready.
Well, we just got a chance to watch a great documentary, and this film, The Represent Justice, is put out as a great film, and I'm hoping that everybody gets a chance to watch that. And we have a special guest today, along with our other special guests that we already were able to share with you, and that is a familiar face behind this film, and that is called Malika Kidd. Malika Kidd has been doing wonderful things. Welcome, Malika.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Malika, I know we don't have a lot of time, and we had a chance to watch you at the Allen Oakwood Correctional Institute, and you spoke so well, and we got a chance to view the film. And sometimes people get so caught up in what you did and how you got to your past. I don't want to discuss on that because I got a chance to see all the wonderful things that you're doing, and I think that's more important in terms of the challenges and the stumbles that we all make as we go through life. So when we look at this topic on prison reform, and particularly prison reentry, citizens and people transitioning back into the community, Malika, can you tell us a little bit about what goes on behind bars for those of us who haven't been there, not acclimated to that, particularly with Ohio's women's population, which has exploded in the prison system, and how you've done such wonderful things in transitioning that population to the community, back into the community?
Is my experience you're asking, or the women that I work with?
How about your experience, and then as you transition into helping so many women that you've helped over the years, Malika, transition back into the community?
So when my last 4 years, I spent at Northeast Reintegration Center here in Cleveland, Ohio. And my experience, I was able to grow and blossom because they gave me a lot of opportunities there. They started a program called Reintegration there at Northeast. And I was there at the forefront of it. And the staff member, she challenged me to start helping her create all these different programs so people can do more than just sit around and just do their time. They wanted us to be more productive and to, function. And so I spent 14 years in prison, and so I didn't have any computer skills, and she was able to get me a computer to work on all the programming that we created for that program. Yeah. So that gave me confidence, it boosted my self-esteem, and I was able to learn everything from Word, Excel, PowerPoint, create documents. And that actually helped me in my job that I have today.
And that job today, Malika, is the Program Director of Workforce Development. Can you tell the community, and I know we were interested when we got a chance to watch your film, and we saw a little bit of that trailer opening up this show. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've implemented, Malika? It was so fascinating when we got a chance to hear you speak.
So one of the programs that I am a director of is called Chopping for Change, and it's a culinary arts program for currently incarcerated women. And these women that come from Northeast Reintegration Center to our nonprofit organization at Lutheran Metropolitan Ministry, they come 5 days a week and they're learning culinary arts. We also have therapeutic sessions for them. So we have licensed social workers who help them deal with any trauma that they face, any alcohol or drug addiction, as well as parenting and family issues. And so they work those out before they even start the culinary arts program.
Wow, those are fascinating in terms of the statistics that you have helped, Malika. And we had a chance to watch it in that film. And I know I'm beating that film to death, but I wish the entire state of Ohio could watch that film. It was so moving, and what you've done in that film is so touching, and the lives of the women that have been back into the community. Malika, I know we didn't have a lot of time today, but those who have kids that are in the penal system, those women who are frustrated, how do you help those that get so frustrated, Malika, and have a chance of going back into the penal system from going back into the penal system?
So I try to mentor them. I try to give them my experience as when I was coming home from prison. I try to help encourage them because there's a lot of obstacles when you come home from prison. And my mission and goal is to make their transition easier and a smoother pathway than it was for me when I was returning home from prison.
And Malika, real quick, when you say that, and I hate the fact that we're so short on time, I may try to bring you back, but when you talk about a lot of obstacles, Malika, everybody has a story. And what you've done is laid the pathway for them to be successful when they come back into the community. And I think the public sometimes gets, surprised the fact that if you come from a mother who's been incarcerated, you're 6 times more chance to be incarcerated yourself, Malika. So it's important for women to do what you do in our community.
Yes, and I would like to advocate for them as far as housing discrimination, job discrimination, even higher education. I am an advocate for all of those things for those returning men and women.
Well, again, we appreciate you being here, Malika. Short time, but again, a lot informative in terms of what you've done. We're asking the Hello Lima audience to go to pbs.org and look at the documentary called Apart, be able to see what Malika is doing to so many people in the community, in the penal institution, and understand that Malika's story isn't who she used to be, but it's who she's become. And I don't know her well enough to be able to say this, but I'm going to say it because I saw the documentary. I am proud of the work that you've done across the state of Ohio, and as you came back to Lima and speak to the inmates. So as Hello Lima would like to say, as we transition out of this commercial break, what you've done to the community, Malika, needs an applause, and we're grateful to have you today on Hello Lima. Let's take a break and we'll come back.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Malika.
If you're looking for an honest, dependable, trustworthy auto repair facility, consider Tom All for all your foreign and domestic vehicles.
Our goal is to give you such good service at such a low price that it'll knock your socks off. Our technicians have years of experience working on all types of vehicles.
Whether your car needs brakes, transmission, or engine work, diagnostic report, body work, paint repair, just routine maintenance, we can do it all.
We are a local family-owned business located on Downtown Road in Lima.
For quality work on your vehicle, take it to Tom.
Welcome back to Hello Lima. It's been an interesting topic. Got a chance to meet and hear from some of those who are giving back, some of those who have been in the penal system, and some of those who have gone on and do great things as they've gotten out. Chris, I want to kick this off with you if I could, and I want to get into the politics of it. And we saw a little bit yesterday, Dre, when we were watching the film. We had a chance to see a premiere film yesterday out at the Allen Oakwood Correctional Institution. But Chris, one of the things that jumped out is the discrepancy in the sentencing, particularly between the African-American community and the white community. And I know there's a lot of people that wiggle in their seats when we talk about this because it gets uncomfortable, but there does seem to be a difference.
Yeah, there's a huge disparity, and I think as citizens in our community, we need to take note of that and remember that our judges are elected officials and that they should be approachable. So if we're seeing this disparity, that we can't be afraid to approach them and to talk to them about it, because it's obvious.
And you have done that, though, haven't you?
Yes, I've talked to some of the judges, and not satisfied with some of the answers I got. Some of them I understood, but some of the answers I wasn't satisfied. But
and when I jump all over Chris when he's talking, and I'm comfortable with him. And when we do this talk, we want Hello Lima to be that kind of show where we can have these kind of discussions. And Chris, when you talk about the fact that you've talked to judges, it's like, why does this one African American get an 8-year sentence, and the person from the majority community gets it? Those are the kind of discussions that you're having.
Exactly.
Dre, you hear it in the prison system, yes or no?
Yes.
The discrepancy.
Yes. My thing with that is, I'm kind of, you know, I guess it kind of goes against, well, you know, how people feel about it.
Yes.
But for me is, you know, they're going to sentence you to more. Just don't leave the crime alone. That's it. That's it. And I mean, some people, you know, they don't like my answer, but that's just the truth. You know it's unfair.
I can tell you this: Dre has been consistent with his response, and I want the audience to remember that when Dre says the discrepancy is there. How about this? Don't do the crime. You won't do the.
That's all.
And I think that's important, Dre. You always seem to speak truth to wisdom when you talk about the fact, and although we kind of harp on it, Chris, you brought it up, right, Dre? Which means stay out of trouble. And that's something you preach almost on a daily basis.
Yes, every day.
Does it get tiresome, or you've been doing it?
No, it doesn't get tiresome because if I can just get one person to believe, that'll be another person that can teach somebody else.
Because you've been through the system, right?
I've been through it.
It wasn't easy.
No. Nope.
State and federal system. And having said that, though, Chris, when you talk to we call them the littles, and I want the audience to know, get a hold of Big Brothers and Big Sisters if you want to be a big. Chris will get you signed up. He got me signed up, and I'm happy for that. But Chris, those bigs make it important in the lives of young people.
Yes, because again, a lot of the young people are following other young people who are following social media, who are following who they claim, you know, like the rappers and those famous people. That's not the reality. So what we're doing with our program, we're giving them reality right here in Lima, Allen County.
In Lima Allen.
This is what you're dealing with. This is the opportunities, and that's the type of people we're trying to surround them with.
And Chris, that's a good point right here in Lima, Allen County, because if you don't get involved in Lima, Allen County, and I certainly appreciate our guests today, Leandre Johnson and Chris Jackson. Chris is a former police officer as well as a former correctional officer and firefighter. So as we talk about this, when Chris says right here in Lima, Allen County, if we don't help, we're going to have to pay at some point, whether it's taxes, whether it's additional crime in our neighborhoods, whether it's so as we look at these opportunities to be able to get involved, I like the Hello Lima community to understand, and you see people here who are trying to get involved. There are ways that we can reach out, ways that we can get involved. There's ways that we can try to get back to a society that has so much to give. So many people that are looking for help. So many people that want to do right when they get out of the penal system. So again, Hello Lima, reach out to Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Reach out to Leandre Dre Johnson. Everybody knows Dre over at Fresh and Fade. He does a lot of things back for the community. Join us on our Facebook page. Join us on our YouTube page. You'll be able to catch Hello Lima, and we certainly appreciate the opportunity that we had to bring you today. And we have a special show, I'm pretty sure, coming next month that's going to talk on this topic again in a different spin on it. That's how important I think it is. So again, Hello Lima, and we're glad to have you today.
Hello Lima, brought to you by Good Food Restaurant, home of Happy Days, Beer Barrel, and Old City Prime. Also by Mercy Health Partners, the Tom family of dealerships, 318 Restaurant and Bar, Lima Pallet Company, and M&W Construction.